Let's just say it, Christian nationalism isn't just about loving your country. It's a dangerous distortion of the gospel, one that wraps Jesus in a flag and calls it faith. Now, some treat it like a badge of honor. On the other side, they treat it like heresy. But I think many American Christians are just confused, or silent, or perhaps slowly slipping into it without realizing. So here's my honest take, not as a political expert, not as a cultural warrior, but as someone who loves his country. But I'm more concerned about God's kingdom than preserving one nation. Christian nationalism isn't just public faith or political engagement. It's the belief that America is, was, and should be a Christian nation, and that government power should be used to enforce Christian values. It's saying our national identity and our spiritual identity are one and the same. So to save America is to save Christianity. That political power is necessary to protect the gospel. But Jesus never said, go make nations Christian. He said, make disciples of all nations. That's not the same thing. And let's be clear, Jesus didn't come to take political office. He came to take up a cross. He never led a political movement. He never built a theocracy. He said, my kingdom is not of this world. And the early church wasn't lobbying Rome. They were being executed by it. And yet the gospel still spread, not through coercion, but through love, sacrifice, and spirit-filled courage. If your version of Christianity can't survive without political dominance, that's not Christianity. It's a cultural religion. And I think Christian nationalism, it starts with good intentions. We want to see justice. We want our laws to reflect truth. But somewhere along the way, we end up trading the cross for control. That we say we need power to protect the faith. But every time in history that faith gets tangled with power, it stops looking like Jesus and it starts looking like the empire. And we start to justify all kinds of things. Hatred, fear, even violence in the name of defending the truth. But that's not courage, that's idolatry. So here are some signs you might be slipping into it. When you confuse your national identity with your spiritual one. Being American and being Christian are not interchangeable. If you assume one guarantees the other, that's a red flag. It's not citizenship, that's synchronistic. If you get more fired up about political wins than spiritual fruit, that's a warning sign. It's when we cheer, when our side wins a vote, but ignore the pride, rage, or fear growing in our own heart. That's not a victory, that's rot. When we start to see outsiders as enemies to defeat and not neighbors to love. And when we do that, that's nationalism talking. It's not Jesus. Because Jesus didn't die to give you political clout. He died to make your enemies family. Yes, you can love where you live. I am proud to be an American. Truly and genuinely, I love my country. You can be grateful, you can serve, but your highest allegiance isn't to a flag, it's to a cross. Jesus didn't die for a nation, he died for the nations. So you can be patriotic, but don't baptize patriotism and call it the gospel. Because Jesus isn't coming back draped in red, white, and blue. He's coming back with fire in his eyes and every tribe and tongue on his lips. Faithful Christians engage politics, but not to dominate. We engage to serve, to love, to protect the vulnerable, and to reflect God's justice. But we don't need to win in order for God to work. In fact, the church has often shown brightest when it's not in power, but when it's on its knees. Because we don't conquer by the sword, we conquer by the Spirit. It's not by legislating love, but by living it. At the end of the day, this isn't about left or right. It's about heaven and earth. Jesus didn't build a political movement. He built a kingdom where the first are last, the humble are honored, and the king, he wears a crown of thorns. So ask yourself, are you fighting for a kingdom Jesus never came to build? Are you trading the gospel of grace for the gospel of comfort and power? If so, that's not just a political problem. It's a spiritual one.